Toastmasters, respected guests and audiences. Which country has good tasting fruit, horrible traffic, and one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? Well, if you guessed Egypt, then you are the one who is correct. Like many Chinese, Indian, and Mesopotamian, which is modern-day Iraq, farmers, their civilization started the exact same way. They farmed on the Nile River. Eventually, they had a surplus of food, so they started specializing, getting the food out of the way. They formed a language which was called hieroglyphics, and they used symbols instead of letters. They also appointed leaders, which were called pharaohs, and made many different traditions. One of these traditions was, if a man dies, he would be buried with everything he owned. Food, money, clothes, weapons, even cats. So the man would be laying around, and all this stuff would be around him. Since the pharaohs had lots of stuff, they couldn't store it all underground. So they decided on one thing, to build a pyramid. It took 120,000 people working for 20 years, carrying 120 tons of dirt and rock per day to build this amazing monumental structure. Even today, many architects and builders cannot copy an exact copy of this amazing structure. Today, the pyramids are really dusty and dark, so if you were to go there, I'd strongly recommend you bring 2 things, a flashlight and an oxygen tank. Did you know that Egypt was also tread upon by several prophets? The prophets Abraham, Joseph, Jacob, Moses, and Jesus, and his mother Mary were some of the prophets who spent part of their lives in Egypt. In fact, Prophet Joseph, who was Yusuf in Arabic, was the minister of finance there because he interpreted the king's dream. Even though I'm Egyptian, and my parents are Egyptian, I only went there 3 times, believe it or not. So one day, I'm playing Mario and Luigi Partners in time, and my sisters are doing their own little thing, and my mom comes rushing downstairs. And he's like, kids, we're going to Egypt. At first, I think it's a dream, but then I figure out it is the reality. So every night, me and my sisters would sit on the bed and watch my mom and dad pack the bags. Eventually, a week later, we went to Egypt. I saw so many things I did not see here in Oregon. One of these things was that the airport was huge. It took me some time to dwell through this maze of people trying to find out which one's my mom. There was also really annoying sounds, especially around the clock honking. If you go outside, all you hear are cars honking, and it is really annoying. The next thing you hear is the call to prayer 5 times a day, which is normal. There's also a lot of hustle and bustle around Egypt, and the streets are always bursting with life. I guarantee you will not find one street that has less than 20 cars on it. One day, during this awesome vacation, me and my cousins went to the pyramids. This was most likely the best day of my vacation, because we saw how huge the pyramids were. I thought they were actually bigger than they were supposed to be. We rode horses and camels, even though the camel ride was really lucky, and we passed by the noseless Sphinx. In case you guys want to see his nose, it's in the museum in Britain. We then had lunch at Pizza Hut and left 1 week later. Sports is a huge part of Egyptian culture. My dad is a big fan of soccer. And one day, I'm playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and we're last level. And then my dad comes rushing downstairs, and then he turns it off. And I'm like, Dad, come on. And then he's like, I have to watch a soccer game. I'm like, come on. You watch it like every single day. And they also won the African Cup 3 times in a row, which means that they must be very good. Have you ever worn Egyptian cotton? Well, most of you might have. Egyptian cotton is one of the easiest to weave and longest cottons in the whole world. It is used to make towels, blankets, trench coats, and many other things. Egypt today is home to about 80 million people. I would strongly recommend you go there. I guarantee if you stay there for a year, the fun would never end. Just be sure to bring an oxygen tank and a flashlight in case you go inside the pyramids.